Howdy everybody, I am going to be showing you how to set up a Leopard Gecko enclosure correctly. So first thing you need is substrate. I am going to be demonstrating paper towels in this video. I'm using paper towels because that's what I use as substrate just for now. This will be taking me 6 pieces of paper towel roll. It's really a 6.5, but the half part is hard to do if you don't have scissors, and I just don't want to waste paper like that. There's a gap when you put only 6 in there, so I'm going to be bringing out a 7th piece to fill that gap and overlap that with the long piece. As you can see, I've got the second long piece. And I'm just filling up that gap and overlapping the paper. I'm going to do the same with the bottom half. And now this is the humid hide. People say to put it in the middle, but I put it on the hot side because it's more humid that way. And I haven't had issues at all with that. So I put mine all the way on the warm side. And no, that does not count as the 3 hides people usually put in their enclosure. At least that's not what I do. That's my first hide. I put that in the middle. And then this log is going to act like the hot side cave. I'm going to see how to fit it in here. I tried a different way. I'm not really happy with how that looks. He can't really climb up to the top. So I'm gonna change that out. And here's my final design. It's just loops and cave pieces. I'm flattening the paper towel out. This is a cave I made. It's made out of a milk jug and plant. Artificial plants to be more exact. I just poked a hole in the top, cut a little doorway, and then there you go, a jug house. This is a coconut. I'm going to put it over on the cold side also. So the way you're facing it right now is the cold side is on your left, and the hot side or warm side is on your right side. The middle is literally just the middle. I like this because it's more simple and helps me know my left from right. I don't know why, it's just how I operate. This is one of the plants that I like to put in. It loves to grab on other plants, so just be careful and take note of that. I'm going to spray the suction cups on this next one. Spraying your suction cups helps it stick onto the glass better. Suction cups, so far that I know of, only work good on glass. I don't think it works good on wood or PVC, so you'll have to use like command strips or something for that. They're fairly easy to replace, but as you can see, I'm spraying the suction cup on the bridge as well. I put the bridge up top in case he wants to go up higher to the heat. Notice I am having a few inches from the top. It's about halfway up. If you're wondering if you're able to switch things around in your lizard's enclosure, you sure can. You just have to be careful because sometimes they can be stressed about that. And I've done it plenty of times where my lizard's used to it and it encourages him to walk around and everything. So I think that's a plus. I just don't want to do it every time because it's a lot to take out and a lot to put back in. I'm gonna put it at the side of the glass and I'm gonna angle it so that he can still get on it from the ground. When you're planning on getting a leopard gecko, I highly recommend that you save up a lot of money. You need to save up for the vet, you need to save up for food, you need to save up for enclosure stuff, because if you research wrong, you have to redo all of it, or whatever you messed up. And I have experience with that. I spent most of my birthdays asking for lizard stuff because that's just what I wanted, and also I couldn't pay for it myself. I don't have a job, but it worked out for me, I guess. Just it took a lot of frustration and guilt in order to know how to properly care for my leopard gecko without researching at first. Always do your research before you're getting a pet. Any pet, you need to research. And I highly recommend raptorfiles.com. I've been using that so far and it's been great. There's some iffy things that I could name, but I just won't in this video. I can put it in the description below. This is the digital thermometer and hygrometer. That means it gets both the humidity and the heat of the enclosure at the same time. You get it from Amazon, link in the description. All these things that I've been putting in the enclosure you can find on Amazon or make yourself, like that cave that I told you that I made. You can't really find DIY stuff in Amazon, if you know what I mean. This vine that I'm messing with right now is very frustrating. It's very breakable as well, and I just don't like it. I'll probably replace it in the future, but right now I don't have that kind of money, and it still works, so I mean, it's a win-lose, I guess. If you noticed, I put another thermometer probe in there to catch the hot side, and I put the humidity reader in the middle so I can catch out all the humidity. I don't want to just get one side of it, you know. So I put it in the middle. I suggest getting a laser thermometer that you point it and then it catches the temperature. But I don't have that yet. I plan on getting it in the future, I just don't know when. It's much easier to get a more accurate reading. The ones I use are pretty accurate, but it helps you get the ground reading instead of the air. And both of those are really important. As you see, I have a bunch of artificial plants. I got that on Amazon too. I'll link it in the description below. As you see, the humidity has a few vines on it, but they're very loose, and I can open it very easily. Making caves that you have to open up accessible is really important to me, at least, because you don't want to have to move everything just to spray the humid hide. My humid hide has perlite that has been soaked, but then I squirt it. I think I have to redo that to make it more wet, but right now I'm just gonna spray it this time. So this is the inside, if you can see that very well. You got the hot side and then the cold side. The humidity, the probe, the bridge. I went for a more foresty look with this. They actually live in a stone desert. Do not be tricked by people saying desert. So if you're curious on what kind of desert you need to prepare for, a stone desert is one, and if you think your lizard will not want to climb, think again. They love climbing. They think they're arboreal or something. See, now I'm spraying the human hide. I'm going to do that a lot. If you're wondering if having the enclosure on the ground is a good idea, I'd say yes. It helps you sit down and you don't have to like lean over or get a ladder to get into the enclosure. You can just sit on the ground and lean over it a little bit here and there. I'm pretty tall, I guess, so I don't really have to worry about that, but leaning over is a pain in the back. Here's that last log. It's also going in the middle. I'd say 4 hides is minimum for an enclosure. You want to be able to have them have a lot of hiding places, so 4 hides in a 40-gallon enclosure is good, and that includes the humid hide. So 3 regular hides and then the humid hide. You can try your humid hide in the middle of the enclosure, but I just find it works better in the hot side, so that's what I did. You may have heard that a 20-gallon is the perfect size for an adult leopard gecko. That is false. They get big, and they need a lot more room than a 20-gallon. A 40-gallon is the good minimum size for an adult. A 20-gallon is the minimum for a baby, like a juvenile baby. A hatchling probably a 10-gallon, but like you have to update it very soon after that. So 20-gallon is good. You can put a baby in a 40-gallon, but I highly recommend you put a lot more clutter than you would for an adult, because that can stress them out if there's so much open space. So like what you see me doing, you'll have a lot of jungle clutter if you did my theme. But I have juveniles in a 20-gallon square that have a heat mat until they're ready for the 40-gallon. This is because when I was researching, I didn't know that you have to have a 40-gallon and not a 20. People say the 20 because they don't do the research. And that was the old research back then, that the 20-gallon was good, but that changed. 40-gallon is the better option. As the motto goes for reptile people, bigger is always better.